Welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I want to show you guys a play that I just made a few minutes ago, and it's based on a video that I made yesterday discussing a strategy that you can apply. If you've been watching my channel, a lot of my plays have been on going long or going short of stock, depending on how it reacts to earnings. But you could also do the same thing with news events. And as we look on my screen right now, this was the video that I had released, just speaking about, fading based upon how a stock reacts to any sort of news events that is material to the stock itself. I believe an example I had used as a pending example was yesterday with IREN. This is a stock I think that might be in the midst of having a news failure. Yesterday had a massive gap up. I don't want to spend too much time on that because I already spent it on that video, but it had a massive push higher on very bullish news, essentially a partnership. Let me just bring up the exact piece of news in case some of you guys still want to track it, because that might come into fruition still. So yeah, $10 billion deal with Microsoft. That's why they popped. So this might become a very valid trade once it fades that whole movement, but not quite yet. But we have another trade that's actually valid right now, which is Tesla. And some of you might have seen this already. And there was some news that happened right before market open, which was this right here, that Tesla is going to unveil. Let's go to this article. They're going to unveil a flying Roadster at SpaceX. Flying Roadster. This came out right before the market open, which led to Tesla stock moving quite a bit higher. 3% pop off this piece of news. Now, we all know that Roadster as a model has been delayed for such a long time with Tesla. I feel like a lot of people wrote that car off altogether. But the sentiment of Tesla has been super poor. It's had a very, very bad 2026. The last several years now, if you've been a Tesla shareholder, you have not made money. It's definitely not the place you wanted to be in if you were a shareholder all of these years. It's gotten even worse as of late. Gap down after earnings. Things were not looking great, right? So you'd think this piece of news that might even show that, hey, Elon, maybe he's also focusing on Tesla. There's always been this concern here that kind of Tesla is no longer Elon's baby. He cares more about SpaceX. He's not that involved in Tesla, that maybe Tesla's simply not going to be that it company in the future. Because obviously Tesla, I mean, let's be honest, fundamentally it is quite overvalued, but as long as they push out cool products with new inventions, you can maybe warrant the valuations. But it hasn't been the case as of late. And this piece of news, I mean, a flying car, it's very easy to sell to people, right? As a very cool thing. And the market bid it up initially, right? We could see that it bid it up. This is some positive news towards Tesla. No matter what, it's attention towards Tesla. But it didn't last long. You can see how quickly it faded. So using the premise which was shared in the video from yesterday of using a reversal of material news as a trigger to go long or short, this trade became valid once we faded that piece of news. And so far the trade is working out. I did pick up some puts that expire on Monday, so very, very short dated stuff. Right as it was around the $340, and the price continues to go down. Now, obviously, by the time this video is put together and I ship this video out, the play might be done, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say you can hop onto it. Obviously, the stop is going to be very different at that point in time. This could simply mark the very top of this recovery. We could see that Tesla has been trying to fill this gap from earnings. You would have thought that with this piece of news, it would have given additional thrust, because normally speaking, if you're someone that's short and you're looking at this and Tesla's trading up here and you see that it's maybe at this point only $15 below filling the gap, you're going to hold off on shorting the stock or buying puts on the stock, which also applies downward pressure as market makers have to hedge your position. You'd hold off thinking that, wait a minute, I'll do it when the gap is filled. So normally that's why it's sometimes easy for that gap to be filled, because you have the other side of the trade essentially waiting for it to be filled before they hop in. So it's a bit more of a one-sided move there, but that wasn't enough. I mean, it looked like, okay, you know what, this piece of news is enough to get you that gap filled, but no, it was not. We had this reversal, and you could say, well, the equities are dropping, and then you're right, the equities are dropping right now. They have been dropping since 10 a.m., but still, the SPOs are down 22 basis points. You know, it's nothing too extreme. Tesla, I mean, look at this. It just cannot get out of its way right now, right? From the peak there, it's 4.5%. Obviously, it trades at a much higher beta. But this is not good. Again, Tesla's been trading in the dirt all of this year. And here's some new news that came out of left field, which sounds cool. People love a good story. This story here is Tesla has a flying Roadster, right? Flying cars are cool. Roadsters, they also looked cool if they ever came out. But Tesla cannot hang on to anything here, and it shows as weakness, weakness in the stock, and that's what we want to get short. We want to get short weak stocks, especially if the tape is looking weak, and the tape is looking weak today as the market is selling off here. So I just want to show you guys another example of how you can apply simple news for stocks that is material and simply wait for that reversal to come through before establishing a position. The worst thing you could normally ever do is chase that news, which you see retail do very, very often, where it's like bad news comes out or great news comes out and people just want to hop into it and ride it, and it will work out. It will work out at times. Obviously it will, because sometimes those trends go on for a very long time. But sometimes it gets super messy where it kind of comes down, chops around, doesn't really go much. And other times where you really get burnt is it when it just reverses. And it's easier to wait for that reversal because then it actually shows you what's going on in that stock. And normally, the way you're going to see this is that weak stocks that have been trading poor, they are the ones that will reverse good news. And stocks that have been trading strong, they are the ones that will reverse weak news. News that is negative. That's normally how it is. So when I'm looking at Tesla and I see a positive headline, I'm already looking forward for price to be reversed there, because that is normally the case. Stocks that are going down, they will continue to go down. It's almost like inertia. And stocks that go up will continue to go up. You know, if you look at something like SanDisk, for example, it's pulled back as of late, but it's obviously a killer for this year. If negative news comes out about SanDisk, I'm expecting to see that reversal come, by the way. I also want to mention, going back to my other strategy, which my whole YouTube channel is based upon, SanDisk also did have an earnings failure the other way that we should have been long. Pretty much right, where was the gap? The gap down from earnings was right here, and it's basically gone right through that. Just so you could see and verify that the market wasn't a fan of the earnings. Where was it? Right, let's actually go to the 15-minute chart here. Right here, right? This is earnings. So look at this. Earnings comes out. Boom, 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 boom. Selling down. Aftermarket sells down. Pre-market sells down. Market finally opens up. Cash session opens up. From that point on, only gets bid up higher and higher, higher. That is an example of how a strong stock acts. Didn't have the best of earnings because the stock movement verifies it, but it still shot up higher. So that is what you want to be seeing. So again, there's no guarantee that Tesla will continue to go on from here, but this is simply a way to manage that risks. Because from this point on, I have these puts expiring on Monday. And from this point on, I'm watching that 341 level, as I mentioned, 341. If that gets breached today, I'm out of it with a stop loss, right? But I'm also playing with the idea that maybe this ends up becoming a much larger trade, where Tesla goes down 5, 6, 7% today, right? And those puts go up 300-400%. That does happen, right? And we can use something material as a stop loss. Instead of just using a random line on a chart for support and resistances because price just happened to bounce off of it, we can actually use reactions to news to help establish where our entry and our exit is. If you found this helpful, please leave me a like, subscribe for more videos such as this one. You can also leave me a comment if you have any questions. Thank you so much for your time.